Today on the show we review Watchmen, and I show a nice way to display your comics. Hello and welcome to the show with issues. I'm your host Auram, and today I'm going to show you a nice, inexpensive way to display and hang your comic books. And then my friend Kevin is going to come in to review one of his favorite books, Watchmen. Let's get started. Okay, so here's what you need for the comic frame. One standard 8.5 by 11 wooden or plastic frame, some black cardstock paper, the comic in its bag and board, and a way to hang it. I use these double-sided strips. They come in packs of 4 and are pretty cheap. Each frame cost me about $7 from Michael's. Just buy one pack of the cardstock paper and a couple packs of your preferred hanging method for future use. So first off, what you're going to want to do is remove the backing and the piece of paper from the frame. Then, take your comic and remove the board. Reseal that up and position it in the frame so it's nice and centered. Then just put the cardstock in and put the backing back on the frame. Then you just have to hang it. If you're using the same strips that I use, just clamp them together and then remove the little paper parts to reveal the sticky ends. Personally, I've been able to frame quite a few of my nice covers and love how they look. Okay, so before I hand it off to Kevin, I just want to say that he's not an avid comic book reader. He just happens to like Watchmen. A lot. This is going to be biased.
Oh shit! You too, Auram. You know what shouldn't get though? Watchmen. Unless that's a compliment to you, then go ahead. Anyways, Watchmen is the only comic book / graphic novel thing that I actually kinda like. Something about it just really speaks to me. At first, what may seem like an unoriginal story with shallow and predictable characters is actually a satire of modern-day comic book plots with characters that the average reader can actually relate to. It takes place in 1980s New York, but not the New York that we know. It's all about an alternate history that would have happened if superheroes had successfully emerged during the 1940s. The main character Rorschach is a representation of the dark, unspoken vigilante trope. To add to that, he sees everything in black and white. An entity is either completely good or completely evil to him. There is no in-between. And anything that is evil must be ridden from this world. This mindset is often non-ironically used in modern-day superheroes, but the way Rorschach looks upon it is not made to look charming. The whole story actually plays off of this. It's all about how superheroes would actually act in the real world, a world without hyperbole and plot convenience. Rorschach isn't the only example of this. Every character is a person pushed into heroism at a young age, scared for their lives and morally tainted. The only character that stands out from this is Dr. Manhattan, a superhero with the ability to manipulate matter in any way. He is the Superman trope, and he is terrifying. This character and his actions portray how completely terrifying it would be to have a conscious being with unlimited power. Whatever side he was on would end up the side on top. And if he was on his own side, then the world would end up completely demolished. This style, this realistic way that the characters are written, makes Watchmen extremely unique, and perhaps why it's the only comic that I actually enjoy. Every cliche that you're expecting to happen will be completely broken, and you'll be emotionally wrecked as you finally realize that being a superhero is a terrible, dark, and impossible thing.
Busy back, Jack! This has been sort of a quiet week so far, mostly Marvel news. Hot Toys showed off their new Thanos statue, inspired by the MCU version. It is gorgeous, and personally, I would love to have one. Hot Toys really does make some very impressive stuff. A new LEGO game was announced as well, LEGO Marvel's Avengers. We don't know much about it yet, but it's supposedly based on the first 2 films. They also announced a massive $350 LEGO Helicarrier, which looks pretty awesome. As for actual comic news, Marvel announced 2 new titles. Secret Wars Battleworld Issue 1 and Inhumans Attilan Rising Issue 1. The Battleworld title is apparently a limited series that pits the new foes against each other. Think the AVX series that ran along Avengers vs. X-Men back in 2012. The Inhumans book is a new ongoing that will spin out of Secret Wars. DC also showed off the cover of Superman issue 39, which reveals the Man of Steel's new outfit. All of this news is super exciting, and I can't wait for any of it. First week of the month, new titles! Woo! It's above average week for me, anyway. I'll be picking up a bunch of issues, like Ant-Man #2, Star Wars #2, and of course, Wolverine's #5. I can't wait for the Star Wars stuff. The first issue was great, and I highly recommend it. Anyway, here's the rest of my pull list and the rest of the stuff from Marvel and DC this week. And that's episode 2, done and done. Thanks to my friend Kevin for coming on the show and reviewing Watchmen. He also created the theme for the show, by the way. His Twitter and SoundCloud are always in the description.
Thanks.
Again, remember to check back around Friday for my weekly comic reviews and any news that I may have missed. What are we doing next time, Kevin?
Sucking each other's dick.
Alright. Then, take your comic book and remove the bag. Not the bag, the board. There's a bag and a board, and you remove the board. Alright.